Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my channel and to another STAMPtember limited edition exclusive collab. Today's collab is with Penny Black. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first time ever that Penny Black has collaborated with a STAMPtember set. So this is the Bright and Merry stamp set, and I immediately fell in love with this tree image. It's beautiful. I love it. If you like doing bigger cards, like 5x7 cards, I think this would look gorgeous on there because it is big. This panel of cardstock's A2 sized, 4¼ by 5½ inches, by the way. So, side note, the limited edition collaboration sets like this one are limited. They are one and done. When they sell out, they're not restocked. However, if you are not familiar with Penny Black, I will have a link to their product line with all of the supplies in the description box below the video. Definitely worth checking out. They have some just really gorgeous images, and they've been around for a lot of years. So, I stamped that tree with Simon's Cabbage Positively Saturated ink. Those white cardstock panels are going to end up on the inside of my card. So this was just easier because I could stamp that, quickly wipe that ink off, and then I'm stamping the tree with Simon's Premium Black ink onto Neenah Desert Storm cardstock, and love. Again, all the detail. This would look really pretty, I think, if you had a fine detail embossing powder. Okay, y'all, I need more hours in the day. And it's also annoying to myself when I start editing and I'm like, ooh, what about this? What about this? What about this idea? But then I just give them to you guys anyway. Like, that's half the fun. I just wish I could do them too because I run out of time. Anyway, I stamp the images and then I die cut all of those panels with one of the A2 Postage Rectangles wafer dies. And then I am only coloring in the ornaments. You could add color to the whole thing if you wanted. But again, this is one of those images where you could just leave it. You know, there's just so much detail. I just love it. But I was like, ooh, if I do the ornaments, just give them that little pop color. So I colored them all the same. But again, you could do different colors, you know, just depending on what color scheme you want to go with. Or you could do multiple colors, you know, make them all different colors. And then I was like, ooh, we could make them shiny and make them look like mercury glass. Like give them some little like shiny metallic. Again, sky's the limit. So much fun. But I just went with reds. I used Copic Markers to do my coloring. Super, super simple. As you can see, any alcohol marker is going to work. Like I always say, though, when you are coloring on anything other than white cardstock, test it out. Especially if you've never experimented with coloring with alcohol markers on like Desert Storm cardstock or just color cardstock, test it out because everything will look slightly different because it doesn't have that white base. So it's just something to keep in mind. So after I colored my ornaments, I made my card bases. These are top folding A2 note cards, so 4¼ by 5½ inches, and I made them from some red cardstock. And I'm putting the card base onto my grip mat. And then I am putting just some like scratch paper to protect the back of the card and the like inside of the card, because I want to stencil here and I do not want to make a mess because this is going to get a little bit messy. And I tend to get ink, paste, whatever I plan on using. In this case, I'm using just ink, although that like distress black opaque paste, that would have looked really nice on these two. But again, I didn't have the time. I did not have the time. I just used black soot distress ink. I didn't get like a solid coverage. You can kind of see like the red peeking through a bit. It does not matter when it's all said and done. It doesn't matter. If I wanted more solid coverage, I would have went with black soot oxide ink or that black texture paste because that would have looked amazing too. But this serves its purpose. So I blended the ink on, and this is the Pretty Pink Posh Candy Cane Stripe Stencil that I have used multiple times already. Love it. You can't go wrong with a good stripe. And then I apply the ink in the direction of the stripes so they're not moving. And I taped down the stencil just because I had, you know, all that scrap paper in the way of the grip mat. But it worked. Kept everything protected, and I managed, shockingly, to not get like black ink smeared everywhere. That was just dumb luck because usually I end up, with a fingerprint in the middle of everything. But that's also why we add splatter. So anywho, after I stenciled the card fronts, I adhered a piece of white cardstock that I cut to slightly larger than the main image. And then after I adhered those together, I put Big Mama foam tape on the back of this and then adhered it to the card base. And then we're going to add splatter. So put these into my splat box. And we're going to use white gouache and add a decent amount of splatter to this. The funny thing is, this is not what I intended when I started making these cards. I was going to go more just traditional Christmas colors. And then it turned into like red, black, white, and craft. It was fun. It was fun. It's funny sometimes how it just during the process, it kind of evolves into something else. So after I put my white gouache on my palette, I add a bit of water to it to thin it out, mixed up really well with my little fan brush, and then splatter this onto these cards because I really wanted that like white splatter on the card bases. It just gave it that little extra something. And I didn't add black splatter, surprisingly. I thought the white splatter was enough. So added that, I let that dry. And while it was drying, I was heat embossing and die cutting my sentiments. I pulled out the big holiday words stamp set. This came out, I forget when, a few years ago, at least a couple years ago. So I white heat embossed the sentiments onto black cardstock. I used the coordinating wafer dies, die cut them out. And then I die cut scraps with the same dies and just layering just a couple layers together just to build up a little bit more depth. So once I get those adhered together, I can then adhere these to my card fronts. So adhering everything with liquid glue, and then that's it. I decided not to add any bling. I thought about it, so drop that sentiment. So I have a glasswork surface. I just wipe that away. Anyway, didn't add any bling or baker's twine, thought about it, but decided not to. I don't know. I like to mix it up sometimes. This tree, it almost killed me a little bit to put the sentiments on top. But it's such a pretty image. I love it. I love it. And then just that little like surprising pop of green on the inside. And I stamped a sentiment from that big holiday word set with black on the inside as well. And that finished these cards off. So highly recommend checking out the Penny Black product line. Like I said, links to everything is down below. I appreciate you all watching, thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!